Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. In this video I'm going to be showing you how I made this really cute dress for my baby girl. So if you want to see how I made this, keep watching. I had this leftover fabric from this dress I made about maybe 6 years ago. I can't remember, but it's been a while. So I just have a lot of leftover fabric at home, guys, and I'll be using them to make clothes for my daughter because they're too small to make anything for myself and too big, to just throw away. So yeah, so let's get into this, how we made this dress. So first I'm gonna just fold over the fabric, and I made this patterns from it's very easy to make these patterns. I just use paper and I draw them. For baby clothes, the pattern making is quite the easy part. So if you want to have these patterns, let me know in the comment section below, and I might just make another tutorial video on how to create these patterns. But it's really not difficult, honestly. Even for a beginner sewist, this is like the easiest patterns to do. So that's the skirt section. I'm just gonna cut that and then move on and cut the other parts of the dress. Okay, now I'm done cutting all the parts that I need for this dress. That's the underpants part, the panties part of the dress. These are the hands for the upper part and the ruffles for the shoulders. Then the underpanties part so that I can clip the panties together. And then of course the circle part of the dress, the circle skirt part of the dress. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start sewing. So first I'm gonna sew the panties part. I'm gonna put the two sides, like the back and the front, the right sides together, and then I'm going to sew the sides together using an overlocker. You can use a zigzag stitch if you don't have an overlocker, but an overlocker keeps it clean. So I'm just gonna use an overlocker and do that. And then I'm going to turn to the side of the thighs, where her thighs are going to go through, and I'm going to fold that about 1 centimeter because I'm going to feed in an elastic which is about 0.8 centimeters through that tunnel I'm creating. So I'm going to sew this 1 centimeter, and then I'm going to use an elastic band to fit in there. The elastic band I use about 22 centimeters, and my baby is an 8-month-old. I was making for an 8-month-old baby, but you can measure the circumference of your baby's thigh and then use that circumference to cut the elastic. I don't want it too tight, so I make it loose. So that's what I'm going to use to fit in through that space. Okay, now that I'm done fitting in the elastic, I secure that on the side so it doesn't pull out. And I use the underpants part to sew together so that I can clip that. So this looks a little bit tricky, but it's actually not so much. So you're just gonna put that like right sides together again, and then sew along there. You do it for the two sides. Once you're done sewing that, it should look like this. Now this part, you fold it together. I'm just going to let you watch because I don't know how to explain it, but you can just watch. I'm going to do it again slowly so that you can see how it is. You have to fold it this way and then sew at the two sides there, because we're going to turn it inside out. We're going to invert it. So you do it like this. You fold it first inside and then outside, and then you sew along the two edges. Okay, I'm done sewing. I'm just going to cut off the excess. Like I said, we're going to invert it, like we're going to turn it. So I'm going to turn that excess part so that when we turn it, it's not all puffy. And yeah, so this is how it's going to look. So I bought this apparatus, or whatever it's called. I bought this thing. It's supposed to help you pin these clips that you use. You know how baby clothes has this I don't know what this is called, honestly, but you pin them together so that you can secure the baby's clothes. And so this is like supposed to be an easy way to just put it together, but somehow I struggle with this so much, and it just wasn't sticking. Maybe the fabric I was using wasn't the right fabric to use. I ended up using the sew-in ones because these clips have the sew-in version. So I struggled with this so much, but eventually it did stay, but then it fell off immediately because I think that it doesn't work on this fabric. This fabric is probably too light for it. It probably needs a thicker fabric. But yeah, I finally like took it off and then use the one that is sewing. So you do that on both sides of the pants because you know you're going to clip it together. Done with that, now we're going to move on to working on the waist part. We're going to add the skirt part of it, you know. So we're going to take the skirt, and this is how you're going to put it. You're going to feed it like inside the skirt because we're going to create a stitch around it. But first we're going to hem the circumference. We're going to hem the skirt so that it's easier rather than gathering first and then hemming later. So we gather the waist of the skirt and then join it to the panties, and then we're going to put an elastic later. So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to join the skirt and the panty together, you know, with after making a gathering stitch along the waist. So I'm using pins to just help me secure that so that it's going to be easier to sew. I'm taking that to my machine and I'm just going to put a stitch along the waist part there. So when you're done, this is how it should look like. I'm moving on. I'm going to bring in the waist part of the dress. So I just cut this long waistband. That's what I'm going to use, and then I'm going to feed an elastic inside that. So the elastic I use is like the circumference of my baby's waist minus maybe 2 centimeters, but not too much so that it shouldn't be too tight. So I'm going to sew along the side of the elastic and the side of the waistband like that, and then I'm going to feed the elastic band inside the waistband and then sew along. To my machine and sew right along where the elastic stops until it looks like this. So I'm going to now put that waistband, I'm going to join it to the skirt. So I take that to my machine and I'm going to do that. And that's it for the skirt part. The skirt is all done. You can actually use this just as a skirt separately, but I wanted to make a dress, so I'm going to go on and move on to the top part of the dress. Okay, this is like the front body part of the dress. So you cut that on fold and then it looks something like that. Then you bring in the two long, remember I cut like this 2 long strips of fabric. I'm going to put them on both sides of the front part. This is like the front of the dress. Behind is going to be crossed. So I'm going to sew it like, I'll put this one on top and another one under and then sew along the edge so that we can flip it over. Once that is done, if you notice, it's daytime now. I was like, really tired. I was sewing this the night before and then I had to stop and continue the next day. So this is what it will look like when you put those two hands, like the two, I guess I can call them the hands of the dress. You can put the sleeves kind of, you put them together and then this is what it looks like. I had to add an extra piece. That's why you have that little overlock there, because I needed it longer so that you can cross behind better. So now I'm going to work on the ruffles. This is going to be the ruffles of the hand. I'm going to first hem. I'm going to hem along the downer part of it, yeah, so that it can be clean. And then I'm going to gather the other part. And then when I'm done with that, I'll bring it to the dress and I'm going to add it to the dress like so. how you want it to look when you're all done. I'm just trying to show you the finished product so that you can understand how to sew it. So this is how it should look when you're all done. So you can put a stitch along there. That's how it's gonna look. Now I'm going to put the two parts together. So I'm going to take the skirt and the top part, and I'm just going to join them together like this. So I'm going to put that part, I'm going to sew it inside the skirt. I'm just going to put a stitch along that allowance that is left inside. So I'm going to sew it on that overlock, the place where I put the overlock stitch. I'm going to sew it there. So this is how it should be done when you're all done. When you're done sewing in front, you cross the backs and then you sew behind too. And so this is what the finished product looks like, and it's clean everywhere and it looks really cute. So it's all done. If you like this video, please subscribe, leave a comment section below if you'd like to see more tutorial videos like this. All my mamas out there, if you want to sew, listen, I know starting to sew, it feels like it could be intimidating, but I promise anyone can sew if you just put your mind to it. There's tons and tons of tutorials on YouTube where you can learn and get better, and sewing for your baby is the best feeling in the world, trust me.